Hello everyone, welcome to another lecture of general medicine where I make a boring difficult topic easy and interesting to learn. And for that, I shall be referring to this Mind Maps book for general medicine by MediStudy Go. This book contains more than 60 topics which you can cover for general medicine in the form of pictorial representation, which is very easy to remember. You can get this book for yourself from any e-commerce platform like Amazon, Flipkart, Dentalcart, and even the website of MediStudy Go. So let's get into the lecture for today, which is microcytic hypochromic anemia. To start off with the topic's introduction, what is microcytic hypochromic anemia? There are three terms in this disease's name. So what does each term mean? So to define microcytic hypochromic anemia, it is the reduction in the circulating red cell mass below the normal levels. Now the red blood cells which are circulating in the blood, they carry the oxygen because they contain hemoglobin. If that red cell mass decreases, obviously less hemoglobin will be carried and less oxygen will be carried. This leads to a situation called of anemia. So the term microcytic means there are smaller than usual size of RBCs, and hypochromic means there is decreased red color. So suppose this was the RBC normally, firstly the size will be lesser now, and if this was completely filled with the red color, which is hemoglobin, the quantity is going to be decreased. So the size is decreased and the quantity is also decreased, hence hypochromic and microcytic. What can be the etiologic agents which lead to this disease? So there can be three main categories which lead to a derangement in the iron, hemoglobin, or the RBC. Either there can be a decreased intake via the diet, or there can be an increased loss or excretion. Thirdly, there can be an increased demand by the body. So these three categories are where etiologic agents lie for this anemia. So for decreased intake, it is mainly because of dietary intake. If less iron will be taken, obviously there will be less hemoglobin and less cell mass of the RBCs. Malabsorption issues when the patient is taking iron but it is not reaching into the cells. So intake is there but absorption is not. And lastly, there can be gastrointestinal surgeries which lead to difficulty in absorption of all the nutrients which the patient is intaking. So that eventually leads to malabsorption, which leads to decreased intake of iron by the body. Secondly, there can be increased loss of iron. For example, hemolysis and hemorrhage. Hemolysis is when more RBCs are being broken down because of whatever cause, and hemorrhage is when bleeding is happening inside or outside the body. This bleeding can happen in cases of menstruation. If there are irregular, uncontrolled menstrual cycles, that can lead to a lot of excess blood loss. Then there can be GI bleeding, acute and chronic blood loss in ulcers or other form of diseases present inside the body. All of this leads to blood loss, which leads to iron loss and hemoglobin level drops. Lastly, there can be an increased demand, which is in cases of pregnancy and in ages of growth and development. So these require an adequate level of hemoglobin and iron in the body, which will lead to a correct size and content of the red blood cells. Other than these etiologic agents, there can be some defects in the blood cells, which are the RBCs, which can be because of thalassemia, or it can be because of sideroblastic anemia. These two diseases, they have a deranged structure or the contents of hemoglobin chain, which can also lead to a decreased mass of the red blood cells, although the shape says the same, like it's not microcytic as it is seen in this type of anemia. After we know the etiology of a disease, we need to know how the disease is progressing and what is its pathophysiology. So coming on to pathophysiology, normally, the iron we consume is via the diet we take. So dietary iron is taken and daily iron requirement is 1 to 2 of milligrams. This is absorbed in the duodenum of the intestine, which is aided by the gastric HCl present. This is regulated by hepcidin also. This iron, which is absorbed in the intestine or the gut, is transported by transferrin protein present in the blood. So transferrin picks up the iron from the food which the gut has absorbed and takes it into the blood. This iron is then stored as ferritin in liver and is released whenever required. So normally the iron enters body from the dietary sources. It's an important constituent to the formation of hemoglobin. If iron will be normal, hemoglobin normal formation happens. Hemoglobin is present in the RBCs, which helps in carrying the oxygen. So this is how the cycle proceeds normally. Now, what happens if the iron is less and hemoglobin is not normal? So, in anemia, there is insufficient iron in the body. It leads to decreased hemoglobin production. This leads to decreased oxygen carrying capacity of the hemoglobin. Now, to compensate this loss, what RBCs do, they start to divide. They think if we'll divide, we'll be more in number and maybe we'll be able to compensate for this loss. But due to that division, the ideal quantity which the RBC has to contain of hemoglobin, their ideal size, that gets compensated for. So this leads to division of RBCs and forms microcytic RBCs. So the size of RBCs decreases, and obviously if the size has decreased, this decreased size RBC will contain lesser hemoglobin, which is known as a situation called as hypochromia. So microcytic hypochromic anemia is happening because RBCs, they divide when the hemoglobin is less or iron stores are depleted. The RBCs, they divide and they lead to microcytic RBC formation, which contains less hemoglobin, that is hypochromic in nature. So the size of microcytic RBCs is even less than the size of the nucleus of the lymphocyte. These are the microcytic hypochromic RBCs, as we can see over here, whereas this is the size of a lymphocyte, and ideally the RBC should be similar sized. So this leads to decreased size, which is known as microcytic RBC. After we know what the disease is progressing like, we need to know how the patient will present to us, like what will be the symptoms and clinical features. So coming to clinical features, like any other anemia, there are going to be symptoms of weakness, fatigue, and pallor. These symptoms will obviously be there because oxygen is less, hemoglobin carrying capacity is decreased. There is going to be pallor, there is going to be syncope and lack of concentration because less blood supply is going with oxygen being carried. Angular cheilitis, fatigue, dyspnea, difficulty in breathing, pica, which is the craving to eat clay, soil, paper, etc. Some patients also complain that they want to chew onto ice cubes. So that is all related to iron deficiency. And lastly, there can be restless leg syndrome. So this is all present in the case of anemia, and pica is usually present in the cases of severe anemia when the hemoglobin is too low. So this is how a patient is going to present to you. Now, if a patient is presenting with these symptoms, you need to come to a confirmatory diagnosis for the disease, which happens by performing some lab investigations and tests. So what are the diagnostic tests which we need to come to a diagnosis for microcytic hypochromic anemia? So starting with the CBC or the complete blood count, which is the diagnostic test of choice over here, RBC count is going to be decreased along with the decreased hemoglobin. MCV, which is the volume of the cells, is going to be decreased. MCHC, which is the mean concentration of hemoglobin, is also going to be decreased. If we do iron studies to test the stores of iron, how much it is present in the body, transferrin saturation will be decreased because if less iron is present, less transferrin is being used to carry that iron from the gut to the liver. So transferrin saturation will be less. Less ferritin levels because the stores are depleted. Total iron binding capacity will be more. How? Because the binding capacity of the cell to iron is high because too many free cells are present. If all the cells are occupied, it will mean that transferrin is consumed. So normal supply is happening. But if the iron stores are less, transferrin is roaming around freely, it is there to increase the binding capacity. It wants to bind to iron, which is less in quantity. So therefore, the TIBC is increased. And lastly, if you take the peripheral smear for the patient's blood, you're going to see small-sized RBCs with pencil cells, which gives it the term of microcytic. Then there are going to be cells with large central pallor and small peripheral hemoglobin. So the cell is going to have just small hemoglobin on the boundary. This is how you can come to a confirmatory diagnosis for microcytic hypochromic anemia. And then you come towards the treatment of the anemia, which will be to restore the levels of the iron. So first is oral iron therapy, wherein ferrous sulfate can be given. It is the drug of choice with some side effects like nausea, constipation, or abdominal pain. There is improvement in 3 weeks, but it must be taken up to 2 months. Then there is going to be parenteral iron therapy, wherein the oral drug is not giving as much effect as it should. So oral drug side effects are decreased. In cases of malabsorption and in cases of acute need, we might need the parenteral supply. Here, iron sucrose or sodium ferric gluconate is slowly infused into the body to increase the level of irons over time. Lastly, we can use blood transfusion in severe acute cases and where packed RBCs are preferred because it's no use to give the whole blood, which contains platelet and WBCs and clotting factors also, when only RBCs are required. So packed RBCs are preferred over whole blood being given. This is how you can manage a patient of microcytic hypochromic anemia according to the symptoms and the stage at which the patient is. For lesser severity, you can just give oral drugs. For a higher severity, you can require parenteral therapy or even blood transfusion. This is how you can compile this topic. And before you wrap up the topic, you must solve some questions for it as well. For example, I have a question over here in the form of flashcard and MCQ. So for the flashcard, when is IV iron administered? It is administered in cases of malabsorption, severe anemia, and intolerance to oral iron. So this is how you can just flip over the flashcard in the app of MediStudy Go and you can view the answer along with explanation wherever possible. Then if you solve an MCQ question which contains 4 options, most common cause of iron deficiency anemia in young females is hemolysis, menstrual blood loss, infection, or genetic mutation. So young female is an indication to your answer, which shall be menstrual blood loss. This is how you can flip over to view the answer. The app I'm talking about is this one by MediStudy Go, which you can download for iOS as well as Android on using the App Store and Play Store and get access to resources like mind maps, notes, videos, flashcards, and MCQs. The correct way to read any topic is just open the mind map book or you take the mind map on the app, open this video and start taking down notes. Whenever you revise that topic, it's going to be very easy for you to just memorize the topic in under 10 to 15 minutes. And you must subscribe to our channel because we post videos regularly. If you like this one, do drop a like and comment below this video for any doubts you have and we'll reach out to you. Thank you for watching.